Hey guys, what's up? It's Apollo here. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you guys are holding on to your butts because we have another massive battle. This is a medieval beatdown. This, of course, is Medieval Kingdoms Total War 1212 AD, and we have a total of 8 armies on the battlefield. And I know we don't do a lot of pitch battles on my channel, which is, it's a real shame because they are very tactical, especially battles like this one where there's a lot of teammates. You gotta work together, use strategy. It's always quite fun to fight for a common cause, which is to destroy your enemy. So that's what we're going to see here. So who will be the last standing? Which team? Now, in total, there's about 15,000 troops on the battlefield. The armies are almost identical in size. So this blue and yellow army, they have 7 troops less than the red side. So not 7 units, 7 men, 7 troops. It's pretty close. So this is going to be a nice, even battle. We'll see what happens here. Just look at the tactical view. The armies stretch from red line to red line. It's going to be a pretty chaotic one. So for the army comps, we are talking about 8 armies here, and it's going to take forever if I went into extreme detail on just letting you know what these armies are consisting of. So I'm just going to do a very brief general overview. Most of these armies are, for medieval kingdoms, all the armies tend to be very similar. You got your archers, heavy infantry, shock cav. That's about it. But anyways, let's look at this blue and yellow side. Let's see, the first army we have here is the County of Toulouse. They have some free company longbows, some crossbows, some spears in the back to protect their skirmishers, and they also have a decent number of pole arms and heavy infantry in the back lines, and of course they have some shock cav. Here's the Count of Toulouse. Let's move on to the next army, which is the Kingdom of Jerusalem. Now, Jerusalem's got such a sweet roster, very cool faction, one of my favorite factions, because you got Middle Eastern units, you got units from all over Europe. It's awesome. So he's got some nice heavy archers, some heavy infantry, heavy melee infantry, and just look at the different coat of arms and colors. It's really cool. Back here he is bringing some hospitalers, and of course he's got some shock cav to go with his army. So that's pretty much it for the Kingdom of Jerusalem. Let's move on to the next one, is the Republic of Venice. So Venice has some medium spear infantry. He's bringing a lot of heavy bow infantry, the nice Venetian bows, and he also has some heavy melee infantry and some pikes in the very back. So it's cool to see some pikes. Here is the Doge of Venice, and I think he also has a lot of shock cav. Now for a shock cav, I believe it's the condottieri. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, 100% correctly, but you're going to see a lot of the condottieri because all the armies pretty much have them, and I think it makes sense because they're more of an Italian mercenary unit. So yeah, he's bringing a good number of shock cav. The only army that I would say is a little bit unique here is the Mongol force, the Golden Horde, where he's got his medium bow infantry. He's actually got a lot of skirmishers in his force and a lot of cav, which makes sense. He is the Mongols. He's got Rus infantry for heavy spears, and he's got some dismounted Jazina for some sworded infantry in the back lines. And for his cav, he's got a couple units of heavy lancers, but really the rest of his cav is horse skirmishers, which are maneuvering over here all the way to the other side of the battlefield. Now we are going to pause it here because the army or the battle starts off really fast. So let's real quick check out the other side. So this first army is the Republic of Genoa. They're bringing, look at this long line of condottieri. Very cool force. That's what I'm talking about. You're going to see a ton of condottieri. So very cool. Let's see for their infantry. Of course, they've got some heavy spear infantry and, of course, heavy sword infantry. And we cannot forget the symbol of Genoa, personally to me. We've got the Pavese crossbowmen. You've got the iconic, the shield. It looks so good. These crossbows, they're iconic. I don't know. They look awesome. So here's more dismounted Genoese nobles. So we haven't really seen the Republic of Genoa. So we're definitely gonna go a little bit slower over their army comps. Here's some heavy spears, or actually they're considered medium spear infantry. And then back here. Let's see, actually this is a different faction, so I guess we'll move on to the next faction, which is the Kingdom of Castile. So Castile has, again, very similar army to allies. They have a lot of heavy infantry, so you can see the adventurer heavy melee infantry. Also some polearms in the mix. It's always great to see the polearms. They're very high in damage. And he's got some crossbows with the very awesome shields. One of my favorite shields in the game, just how unique. I mean, they kind of just bulge out, and they're like almost like kite shields. Very interesting. I've never really seen those type of shields before. So that's the Army Castile. Again, heavy infantry, crossbows, and shock cav. Then we'll move on to the Duchy of Saxony. So they have, again, heavy infantry and archers. No surprise. He's actually bringing a lot of Pavis spears, medium spear infantry, and he has some heavy bow infantry. So not necessarily he's bringing crossbows, but he is bringing some composite bows. In the back here, he's got his general. So yeah, that's his force. We'll move on to the final army, which is the Kingdom of Spain. So Spain has heavy bow infantry. They have, let's see, their armies are kind of blended together here. Hold on, guys. Yeah, he's got the Spadaccini, which is the heavy medium melee infantry, and heavy. Did I say heavy medium? He's got heavy melee infantry. My bad. And here's more Spadaccini in the back. Of course, he's got shock cav. I'm seeing a lot of pikes. And no, those aren't pikes. Those are lance. No, they're pikes. Okay. For a second, I thought those were the lances of the cav. I was like, wow, that's impressive. But he's got some pikes on the battlefield, and we've got more condottieri. This is what I'm talking about. Just endless amounts of this heavy shock cav condottieri. All right, so there you have it, guys. Those are the army comps. Whew. That was a lot. All right, so now this is my favorite part. Once we get over the army comps, this is the exciting part, the beginning of the battle. And this is, this is where I really enjoy to do commentary, because it's just no game like Total War out there exists. I mean, there's similar games, but Total War is just a gem, and how original the game is, and just how cool it captures history in these epic battles. And these battles, even with this size of a force, 2 armies, the 2 teams, this is still a tiny battle compared to most historical battle standards, I guess you could say. But what we got here is just an alliance of cav forming up. We've got cav from the county of Toulouse, from Jerusalem. We've got the Mongol archers, and even the hospitaller Turco-Pillar skirmish cav. It's skirmish cav. Long story short. But here's the charge of some Tartar horse archers, and they're gonna go up. I like the map too. It's like it's obviously a very hot environment. You got the palm trees. They look really cool. So he's going to pop some shots. He's going to, of course, try to skirmish down his opponent. Now, they don't really have an answer for those horse skirmishers. They could move up some archers to try to counter them. But for them, well, they have 2 options, right? They try to take it slow, use some archers to try to counter the enemy horse archers, or they get really aggressive and try to catch the horse archers by surprise, get them stuck in melee. It looks like he's going to go with the aggressive maneuver, so he's going to charge in. By the way, guys, we're going to be doing a lot of slow motion during this battle because these fights get so intense. So he's charging through the vegetation. It can be pretty tough on the cav. But he's going to disengage. He's going to change targets and go for the other skirmishing cav. And they're going to run away. That's exactly how you want to use this skirmish cav. Look at this. This is so epic. It's an epic cav chase. All right, so let's zoom out. Okay, so once again, this is where we're going to do slow-mo because, I mean, there's so many. In Total War Attila, in the later games, the battles are so quick. There's so much going on at one time. So this is kind of a big mistake here from the red team. I'm just going to call them the red team, the other team, the blue team. They're really grouping up a lot of their cav into one area. With cav, you never want to do that because... Well, with cav, it's all about if you can flank around and get some good hammer and anvil and cycle charges. By locking up all your cav like this, you can't maneuver as much, and you can see the other team. They're free to roam around. They've got reserves. You can see some shock cav back here that are going to be able to maneuver around, and of course the skirmish cav's still alive, and they are committing in some spears to aid their cav in this massive cav engagement. So let's get some close-ups, guys. I mean, Medieval Kingdoms just does such a great job of making the medieval world come to life. All these different colors in coat of arms, and I mean, there's got to be a lot of friendly fire going on because all the different nations going at it. But this, that's medieval warfare. Armies were walking just like trophies, right? Like they really wanted to show off their banners and how like, oh, look at us, look how glorious we are. Be afraid. So it's really cool to see that come to life in this mod, and just seeing the great colors of the different kingdoms and just countries and whatnot, regions. So the Cav fight is still going on. If we look at other parts of the battlefield, nothing much going on. Just the multiple armies lighting up their forces and just kind of waiting, I guess, for the outcome of this massive Cav engagement. So we'll go back to normal speed. I will do a lot of bird's eye view too, just so we get a good idea of what's happening, because when you zoom in like this in a big battle of this size, it's just impossible to tell what's going on. Alright, so because the blue team sent in some spears, their opponents, they're going to send in some pikes. Now, pikes are going to definitely be needed, but now we got a cav charge. Oh my god, going after the heavy crossbows, able to just barely sneak past these pikes. That was a fantastic charge, and I'm sure that's a very expensive heavy crossbow infantry, so that's a huge loss right there. Excellent cav work, and once again, all these cav units blobbed up in one area. He can't maneuver his cav as much, and you're seeing why it's never good to do that, because they're having a tough time to maintain their flanks and constant cav strikes. So now the County Toulouse falling back their heavy shock cav. They are getting bombarded a little bit from crossbow fire, but that's okay. So now they're going to actually go behind enemy lines. Let's see. Oh, and now we got a counter charge from the Kingdom of Castile, sending in their heavy shock cav. And the pikes are now turning back around. They're going to try to help out their allies' cav. Actually, these are medium pole arms. And now we've got even more infantry being tossed into this cav engagement. Insane. So once again, let's zoom out and just get a bigger picture. We'll do some slow motion. Let's really just, let's slow the battle down and really enjoy it. Really soak up every strategic aspect of this fight. So it looks like the red team's trying to, they're kind of turning it around, right? With the help of the pikes, a lot of the blue team's cav, we've got the County of Toulouse falling back out of there. Now we've got this little side flanking force, which is going to be a big problem. Now he does have archers back here giving him some suppressing fire, supporting his army, but they've got to do a lot more against that archer cav, because they're going to chew up the flanks of the red army. So let's head back over to the front lines. Let's see how this struggle is going on. We're going to go ahead and play again. Go back to normal. Look at this guy's uniform. Look at those horns. How intimidating is that? I mean, it's intimidating. I assume it would be intimidating on the battlefield, but if it wasn't on a battlefield, it'd be pretty goofy looking. So just a clash of heavy iron knights, or steel knights, I should say. And this fight over here is still just inconclusive. It's hard to tell who's going to win this one. Now we even have some foot archers close by in this cav engagement, so they've got to be feeling pretty confident to just send up archers this close to enemy cav. And now they're, oh my goodness, we've got pole arms, swordsmen. They've got to send up more infantry. In red, are they sending down more infantry? Kinda. I mean, they're moving them forward, but really this has been just like a match of strength at this. Like, this engagement here has been a battle of attrition, where both armies are just like, oh, okay, you're sending up infantry, then I'm sending up infantry. Oh, you're sending up more? Then I'm going to send up more. And pretty soon, there's only going to be two outcomes. One army is just going to get destroyed because it has no more troops to send in, or one army is going to fall back and disengage in this battle. And I think the red side should definitely disengage, because they're losing this fight, and you don't want to keep throwing men to the slaughter. Oh, now we got some horse archers moving in. And another great thing about horse archers is that sometimes players don't expect them charging in. Well, they're charging in. That's the great thing about the how versatile these horse archers are, the horse skirmishers. And they're even moving on to the next layer of crossbows. So they're losing a lot of archers here because they're not properly protecting their army against the enemy horses. So what a great fight so far. I mean, I'm loving this. I also love the fact that over here all the way, I mean, imagine being a soldier and you have no idea what's going on. You can hear them fighting, you can hear the horns and the men screaming, but you got no idea. So you better hope that they're winning, because you don't want to commit into a fight that you're most likely going to lose and you'll get killed or you're taken prisoner. I mean, who knows? Alright, so it's getting a little laggy, guys. I'm sorry about that, but again, that's just the optimization of Total War Attila. But Saxony, it looks like, yes, Saxony, they're doing their best to try to hold on to this front line, but I think he should try to get his cav out of there. We've got a lot of gaps in the forces now, which is giving the blue team, now we've got Venice, the Republic of Venice, taking advantage of that gap, and they're now going to be able to maneuver around. Let's get the first person view or third person view of this cav as they charge behind the back lines of the Saxon Knights. So that's very unfortunate for them, not able to get his cav out of there. Now they're going to get chewed up because they're in a sandwich between enemy forces. And we have more heavy shock cav pushing up this way. What are this? The condottieri. I think they're going to maneuver. Let's see, maybe they're just looking for an opportunity to strike on enemy archers, vulnerable units. But they're just kind of patrolling the land, so to speak, I guess. And now we got Mongol horse archers pushing forward. So that's the luxury of having light cav. Oh, they're getting awfully close. Enemy infantry, it's so fast. You see how quick they turn? That's just nasty. So they're going to be able to just safely skirmish the enemy. So nice job with the Tartar horse archers. Good God, look at these guys fly. It's insane. This is why you don't put heavy armor on skirmishing cav, because you want them to move as fast as possible. Jeez, that is fast. All right, so yeah, now what is this? It's like he's stuck in a little island. He's got nowhere else to go. This is not a good situation. He probably needs to pull back to his ally, which is Saxony. So what faction is this again? This is, I mean, there's so many. Spain, or not Spain, Sicily. Sicily is really struggling by the looks of it, because I think this is just it for his army. So far, it's been a very rough start for the red side, the red team. Let's head back over this, where it looks like the skirmish is now really taking off with the Mongol Turkic archers, the medium bow infantry. Had a brain fart there. Bow, what are they called again? Oh yeah, infantry. And the Pavese crossbows of Genoa. They definitely have a pretty challenging task here. A lot of arrows coming in. Even though crossbows, especially with all that armor, can really help out, but they're so heavily outnumbered on this side that this is not going to be an easy skirmish. And I think these players know, like, hey, Sicily is losing it over there. I'm sure they have, you know, now historically, I'm sure they would have like scouts watching and like messengers like, my lord, Sicily is losing. It's like, oh God, I guess we should charge in our infantry. So this is the red players' kind of way of trying to turn the battle around, getting aggressive. I think he realizes that, hey, I'm not going to beat these skirmishers in a prolonged skirmish, so I need to get my infantry into the fight and just hope that my infantry can win this one. But by the looks of it, it just looks like they're outnumbered infantry-wise, because there's just they're thin lines of spears, but we got much thicker lines of infantry. So we'll see what happens here. Is he going to fully commit, or is he just getting a little bit closer? Let's find out. He's got his dismounted Genoese nobles. Look at those like pants. Not pants, but long, whatever. I don't know the terminology. Whatever. Got uniforms that look cool. Alright, there goes the charge. Yeah, he's committing a lot of dismounted Genoese nobles. Unfortunately, they were able to get a volley off on the charging nobles. Actually, they're going to hold their ground right there. No, we got troops engaging in the center lines. Oh, there we go. There we go. There's the charge. God, that looked great. There's nothing I love more in Total War Attila than just infantry charging. And just, you know, one infantry charging into another infantry line. So we got a really intense fight here going on. Over on the other side, no infantry engaging yet, but we do have some dismounted Drazina and shield wall formation prepping for the advancing infantry of the red team. You can see them forming up as well. They're probably exchanging some words, and I'm sure they're going to get to the fight as quickly as possible. He's got a nice testudo formation, which is oh, that looks awesome, which is going to definitely protect his men against the Mongol archers, at least for a little bit. Look at that, just random, just like tanks almost in the battlefield. Alright, so once again, slow motion. Let's slow it down. Let's observe what's going on. So we got a lot of infantry committing to the center. Even some archers are pushed up. By the looks of it, this is not looking great for the red team, because one thing is that they just don't have enough men. You can see that there's gaps in the battle line. See right here? Nobody's fighting right here, which is going to be a problem, because the blue team, the blue and yellow team, they could actually send cav through that gap, or just send more infantry and then flank around. Now he is committing up more spears, but they got to get going, and he's also charging spears into the Drazina. I don't know how well spears are going to fight against Drazina, especially for the fact that he's using this heavy spear infantry that is more of a defensive unit, but he's using them aggressively. So I don't know if the outcome of this situation is going to be worth it. So yeah, the heavy spears, they've committed. Most of the infantry on this side are now stuck in prolonged melee. We've got Drazina, they're watching the flank. You are protectors of the flank, you do not break. But we've got another spear unit of some heavy spear infantry ready to charge. Okay, so, oh, we actually got some cav engagements going on this side. Oh my god, this battle is just, there's so much going on. And look at that mini-map, it's just two rivers staring at each other. So we got Condottieri against Condottieri. Oh, look at the arrows flying overhead. That's gonna be terrifying. So the archers continue to kill each other. Actually, it looks like the archers are kind of zoning out. Oh yes, look at that. Dropping dead there from all those arrows. That's actually pretty smart, because the Mongols are already winning the skirmish phase. He might as well use some of his units to focus down the enemy shock cav, because if you're winning the skirmish phase and you kill your enemy's cav, they've got nothing against you. What are they going to do? They can't charge their cav in because they're so weak, and their archers are not going to do anything. And their heavy infantry, they're too slow to be like extremely game-changing. So that's a pretty huge gain for the Mongols. Alright, so let's slow it down. Let's see other parts of the battlefield, make sure we're not missing anything. Of course, we got the center battle going on here, and you can see there's already some major wavering on the side of the Republic of Genoa fighting on the Republic of Venice. So the two great republics duking it out. And then we've got, okay, so the two factions here, what is this? We got the Army of Castile, and now we have a mix of Saxony and Sicily joining forces, combining their armies because they realize, well, things aren't looking great, so we got to join forces. No, you know what I mean, because, I mean, they've joined forces at the beginning of the battle. They're allies, but you actually have the forces next to each other is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that was a great volley from the skirmish cav. We got a little bit of a skirmish cav engagement, little cav skirmish. Here's the Saxon Knights, the heavy shock cav, fighting some Hospitaller medium bow cav. So this is a pretty good, trade for the Saxon Knights. But they are sending up some spears to the fight. Some medium spear infantry to try to turn this one around. Naturally, the Saxon Knights are going to disengage because you don't want them fighting against spears and prolonged melee. Let's go back over to this side, because really this is the juiciest part of the fight. Oh yeah. Oh, it's so juicy. That's so juicy. So just very elite heavy infantry fighting very elite heavy infantry. The only problem is that the blue and yellow team has more. They've got a lot more, and their skirmishers are winning. I mean, so far this battle has been a big... Oh, are they flanking right? Yes, they are. This is what I'm talking about, guys. You see this gap right here? Giving him an opportunity to flank around some of the Genoese nobles. And that's going to... I mean, that's going to wrap it up for this Genoese infantry. I mean, they are surrounded. So whenever a unit, doesn't matter how elite the unit is, if they're surrounded, it's pretty much game over. You've got to protect your flanks. And I like the fact that Genoa got so aggressive along with their ally, which, wait, is it just Genoa? No, it was the Castile, right? Castile, I mean, there's just so many factions, I can't keep up. But no, I like the fact that they got really aggressive, because they're like, hey, you know what? We're losing this skirmish. We've got to get our infantry into the fight and try to turn this one around with brute force. But they just didn't have enough men to engage all of their opponents. You know, it just seems like the Republic of Genoa kind of went in alone, and because of doing that, he got focused down, overwhelmed by just, superior numbers. But finally, the Kingdom of Castile sending in some heavy melee infantry, throwing in some spears as well. Oh, we got a general battle. General v general. Look at this, guys. And now we got some spears joining the fight, trying to help out their general. But the general has fallen. It is too late. And wow, what a bold push with who was that? That was the King of Castile. Dead. Amazing. That was such a bold move. And it, you know what they say, no risk, no reward. Well, unfortunately, that risk did not pay off, and he will not get a reward for trying to take out the blue teams, the Venetian general. The spears was a nice addition to the fight, but they just showed up too late. And now Castile has lost their king in this battle, which is really going to hurt the morale of their troops. You can see they're already wavering because of the death of their king. Oof. What a bloody fight. What a bloody fight. Okay, so let's see what's happening here. Yeah, look at this. They're just cleaning up the forces of Genoa. Now, thankfully, the Genoan cav, they were able to kill some of the Republic of Venice's heavy shock cav, but it seems like they're just falling back into the tree line, which might be what he needs to do in this situation. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know, like Castile, I feel like Castile could have sent some troops over to help Genoa. I mean, really, it feels like in these pitch battles, you can do 1,000 things and you can get different outcomes. So I don't really know what they could have done better to engage the blue team's infantry. I just feel like they attacked at the wrong time. I think that if Castile sent in more troops at the same time, they could have done a little bit better. But let's see what's going on here. We actually have a lot of infantry fighting on this flank as well. We have Saxony fighting the County of Toulouse. And we've got more heavy melee infantry going in. Got some spears going in between the gaps. And now the Cav, since they are victorious, they've pretty much destroyed every other Cav force in their path. They're going to be able to just, like a cat playing with its prey, it's going to be able to just flank around, mess with the enemy, get behind enemy lines. And oh, look at this massive retreat. They got the condottieri from the Republic of Genoa fallen back, so he might be using this cav to support his ally. Not really sure what he's doing with that cav, but yeah, sure enough, he's charging in his heavy shot cav to chew up the very vulnerable units, which are mostly crossbows and archers. Yeah, it seems like they're losing the skirmish phase over here as well. They're trying. One thing I don't like about Attila is when they fire a volley, it just feels like they're not even trying. You know, they're just like, whatever, yeah, just let it go, whatever. Like seriously, watch a random dead horse just flies into the screen. That's awesome. Watch them fire. They're just like, whatever. Okay, here we go. Pew. Okay, that time it kind of looked like they were using some strength there to pull back the arrow, but I've seen some shots that are just like, what are you guys even trying to pull back that arrow as hard as you can? Like, what are you doing? Okay, so yeah, the Cav charging in, causing issues for this archer force. He's using fire arrows because he's trying to break his opponent before they actually engage and charge the front lines of the Trabantan. Is that the name of this unit? Trabantan? It's a heavy bow infantry. Let's see how the the melee infantry battle is not going well. The charge of the County of Toulouse. So yeah, they're getting cleaned up here. Now here comes, once again, let's do slow motion because this is pretty cool. Here comes the charge of Genoa, sending in their Condottieri, trying to go to this flank and save them. Now I don't know why they sent over their shock cav to try to save this flank, because they're losing on their own flank as well. So I don't know. Maybe he should have tried to set up an ambush in the forest. At this point of the battle, it's looking pretty rough. Look at the difference in troops. There's 5,000 blue army. Well, in the blue army, there's about 5,000, and there's only just 1,000 in the red army. So I've seen crazier battles be reversed and, like, you know, crazy comebacks but the fact that they just don't have any advantage over their opponents, I'm not really seeing them win this one. Here's more condottieri charging into some pole arms. That was a great charge. So, you know, he's getting something out of this condottieri. More of them fighting over on this side, so it looks like he got another charge into the Hospitalers here of the Kingdom of Jerusalem. The other cav unit is surrounded by enemy cav, actually fighting a general. The battle is turning in our favor, so that's, yeah, it's definitely looking like this is going to be a victory for the blue team. Honestly, after that first cav engagement, the cavalry charge, it felt like this was going to be in favor of the blue army side since the beginning. I mean, so let me explain what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about. This fight right here really determined the pace of the battle, and the fact that Genoa was not able to defeat or have any kind of victory on this side, it just seemed like doom for the red team. And now this is the final. This is what's left, and these troops right here. You gotta be like imagine being one of these troops, and you just gotta be that moment where it's like, all right, friends, this is the end. It's been an honor to fight with you, but we're not gonna get out of this alive unless they surrender. But who knows? I mean, you're fighting the Mongols. What they'll do to you? Maybe they'll just like, hey, fight for us. I don't know. Die or fight for us. It's up to you. Okay, so yeah, the cav. There's small little pockets of cav fighting going on here, but I think it's pretty obvious that the Genoese condottieri are not gonna win this. As much as I want them to be able to be successful and try to turn this battle around, it doesn't appear that they're gonna have enough troops to do that. I mean, there's still just so many troops left on the blue army side, and now they're finally closing in on what's left of these forces. Here comes the final stand. Now, I love this like palm tree forest. It's just really cool. I like that. You just don't really get to see a lot of maps like this. So the Lancer, heavy spear infantry, trying to protect their comrades, working together to make a form shield. Here they come. All you can see is just trees and distant men, angry distant men charging towards you. The Pavi's crossbows, they're going to try to get a couple more volleys off until they have to fall back, or maybe they'll stand their ground, take out their shields, and maybe try to fight in melee. We'll see what happens here. Oh yeah, they're just going to flank around. They realize they've got the numbers. Here we go. We got a counter charge. Got to respect that from Genoa. They're charging in. Very cool. So they're breaking instantly. The crossbows are now stuck in melee. They're probably going to break pretty instantly as well. Yeah, they're exhausted too. They're so tired. I mean, it's got to be pretty... They're forming square now. Because they know they're about to be surrounded. They're shaking too. They are shaking. They're shaking in their boots. And here comes, yeah, the reinforcements from the other side. Now they're completely surrounded. Crossbows getting cut down. Spears getting surrounded. And heavy bows, I mean, they're putting in their last couple volleys before they're dead. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Nice charge from the condottieri. This is the Venetian condottieri. Whatever. Hopefully I'm saying that name somewhat right, so it's just not you guys cringing every time I say it. That's all I can ask for. I should have just been calling them heavy shock cav. What can you do? Woe is me. So yeah, there you have it, guys. That's the last unit, and that is the battle. So not exactly a close battle, but it was definitely an epic battle considering the size and just all the stuff that was going on, just non-stop action, which is usually what these pitch battles are like. I just wish the battles were a little bit longer. I mean, having a 4 versus 4 only lasts about 30 minutes. I mean, 30 minutes is a good amount of time, but I don't know. Maybe that's just my hardcore me. It's just speaking out, wanting like 40-minute battles of just seeing these epic tactics and never-ending battle lines. Anyways, let's end the replay. Look at the results here. So good game to all the players. Thank you for everyone who participated. I believe this was sent in by Blood Magpie 1210. So here's the kills. I'll just real quick just kind of skim through so you can look at the results of the units. But like I said, this came down to the Cav, and the Cav was extremely successful on the Blue Army. This army right here, this alliance of forces. And once they won that cav engagement, it looked pretty rough for the rest of the battle. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Definitely going to try to do more pitch battles. Really liking these massive 4 versus 4s because, again, there's so much going on. It's very exciting. So thanks for joining me, guys, once again. And I'll see you next time in the next battle.